Have you ever felt like you were shouting into the wind, trying to share something important, but no one would listen? It's a frustrating, lonely feeling. Now, imagine that the message you're trying to share is not just important, but divine. A message meant to guide, heal, and save your people. This was the reality for many prophets throughout history. We often picture prophets as revered figures, instantly respected and followed. But the truth is, the path of a prophet was rarely one of glory. Today, we are going to journey back in time and explore the powerful and often tragic stories of prophets who were rejected by the very people they were sent to help. Their stories are not just historical accounts, they are timeless lessons in faith, perseverance, and the human condition. Let's start with a name many of us know, Noah. Before the Great Flood, Noah was given a monumental task. He was instructed to build an ark and warn his people of the impending disaster. For years, possibly decades, Noah preached his message. He pleaded with them, explaining that their ways were leading them to ruin, and that repentance was their only hope. How did they respond? With laughter. They mocked him, calling him a crazy old man. Imagine the scene day after day. Noah and his family are sawing wood, hammering nails, building this massive vessel on dry land, far from any large body of water. To his neighbors, it must have looked like the ultimate act of foolishness. They couldn't see the coming rain, they only saw a man who was out of step with their reality. The rejection was total. They didn't just disagree with him, they ridiculed his faith and his obedience. It was only when the first drops of rain began to fall, and the waters started to rise, that the terrifying truth of his words became clear. But by then, it was too late. The door to the ark was closed. Now, let's travel to the deserts of ancient Arabia and meet the prophet Hud. He was sent to the people of Ad, a powerful and technologically advanced civilization. They were master builders, carving magnificent homes and cities right into the mountainsides. They were proud of their strength, their wealth, and their ingenuity. But with this pride came arrogance. They forgot the source of their blessings and turned to worshipping idols. Hud came to them with a simple, yet profound message: "O my people, worship God, you have no deity other than Him." He reminded them of the blessings they enjoyed and warned them against their arrogance. He wasn't asking for power or riches, he was calling them back to gratitude and humility. And their response? They accused him of being a liar and a fool. They said, "We see you in foolishness, and indeed, we think you are among the liars." They challenged him, taunting him to bring about the punishment he warned of if he was telling the truth. Their pride was a wall that his words could not penetrate. They trusted their own strength more than the message of the divine. In the end, their magnificent civilization was destroyed by a furious wind, a force of nature they could not control, a humbling end for a people who thought they were masters of their own destiny. The pattern of rejection continues with the prophet Salih, sent to the people of Thamud. Like the people of Ad, the Thamud were also skilled craftsmen, famous for hewing dwellings out of rock. Salih came from among them, a man they knew and trusted. He brought the same core message: worship the one true God and abandon your idols. To prove his divine mission, he was granted a miracle. A massive she-camel emerged from a rock, a sign for all to see. Salih instructed his people, "This is the she-camel of God, a sign for you. Let her graze on God's land, and do not harm her, or a painful punishment will seize you." For a while, they tolerated the camel, sharing their water resources with her. But resentment grew. The camel was a constant, living reminder of Salih's message, a challenge to their old ways. A group of defiant men decided they had enough. In an act of pure defiance against God, they hamstring and killed the miraculous camel. They sealed their fate with this act of cruelty and rebellion. Salih could only look on with sorrow, his message of salvation definitively rejected. 3 days later, a mighty blast from the heavens struck them down in their homes, leaving them as silent and still as the stone dwellings they had so proudly carved. Perhaps one of the most heartbreaking stories of rejection is that of Lot. Lot lived in the infamous cities of Sodom and Gomorrah. He wasn't just a messenger, he was a resident, living among the people he was trying to guide. He witnessed their moral decay and their open defiance of all that was decent and natural. He pleaded with them day and night. Will you not fear God? Indeed, I am to you a trustworthy messenger. So fear God and obey me. He appealed to their sense of reason, to their humanity. But his words fell on deaf ears. His people were so deep in their ways that they saw Lot's call to morality as an attack on their freedom. They threatened him, telling him to stop his preaching or face expulsion. They even went so far as to harass the divine messengers who visited Lot in the guise of handsome young men, showing the complete depth of their corruption. The rejection Lot faced was intensely personal. These were his neighbors, the people he saw every day. In the end, Lot and his daughters were commanded to flee the city and not look back. The cities were utterly destroyed, a testament to the consequences of a society that wholeheartedly rejects divine guidance and embraces corruption. Lot's story shows the immense personal pain of being a righteous voice in a world that has lost its moral compass. Finally, we come to the prophet Jeremiah in the Old Testament. Known as the weeping prophet, his story is one of relentless sorrow and rejection. For 40 years, he delivered God's message to the kingdom of Judah. He warned them that their idolatry and injustice would lead to their downfall and conquest by Babylon. He didn't just speak these words, he felt them. He wept for his people, his heart breaking for the destruction he knew was coming. He performed symbolic acts, like wearing a wooden yoke to represent future servitude, all in an attempt to make them understand. And for his troubles, he was beaten, thrown into a well, put in stocks, and constantly accused of being a traitor. The kings, the priests, and the people all turned against him. They preferred the comforting lies of false prophets who promised peace and prosperity over Jeremiah's hard truths. They couldn't bear to hear that their actions had consequences. Even after his prophecies came true and Jerusalem fell, the remnant of his people, who remained still, refused to listen to him, dragging him with them to Egypt against his and God's will. Jeremiah's life was a long, painful ministry of unheeded warnings and profound personal suffering. So what can we learn from these stories of Noah, Had, Salih, Lot, and Jeremiah? Their experiences reveal a difficult truth: a divine message is no guarantee of a warm reception. People often resist change, especially when it challenges their pride, their lifestyle, or their comfortable beliefs. These prophets were rejected not because they were wrong, but because they were right, and their truth was inconvenient and uncomfortable. Their stories are a powerful lesson in courage and perseverance. Despite the mockery, the threats, and the loneliness, they never abandoned their mission. They held fast to their faith in the face of overwhelming opposition. Their legacy is not defined by the rejection they faced, but by their unwavering commitment to the truth they were sent to deliver. They remind us that the value of a message isn't measured by its popularity, but by its truth. And that sometimes, the most important work we can do is to stand for what is right, even if we have to stand alone. Thank you for joining me on this journey through these powerful stories. If you found this reflection meaningful, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that explores the depths of history and faith. Let me know in the comments which prophet's story resonates with you the most. Until next time, stay curious and keep seeking the truth.